on First at 9 this Monday, the 3rd of November 2025. Motion denied. Supreme Court dismisses petitions by former Minister Keheliya Ramukwalla's family seeking to overturn a court order freezing their assets. Transparent transfers. Teachers' appointments and transfers to be made based on policy and fairness rather than personal interests, vows the Prime Minister. Foiled assault. 10 suspects arrested for attacking police special task force personnel in Kilinochchi.
From Derana, this is Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9, brought to you by Sri Lanka's premium news provider, the Derana News Channel. I'm Tarindu Mahendra, joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and around the world. We begin with your top story this evening. 10 suspects were arrested in Kilinochchi for attacking police special task force personnel who were inspecting an illegal alcohol racket. Meanwhile, the Colombo Chief Magistrates Court authorized the Police Narcotics Bureau to detain and question until the 8th of November 6 suspects apprehended on board the multi-day fishing vessel, which was seized yesterday while transporting over 300 kilograms of heroin and crystal methamphetamine.
10 suspects were arrested for attacking a group of police special task force personnel in Kilinochchi yesterday. The officers had arrived to inspect an illegal alcohol racket in the area. During the operation, STF personnel arrested one individual. However, a group of people subsequently attacked the officers with metal pipes and wooden sticks, freed the arrestee and fled the scene, injuring 2 officers in the process. The injured officers are currently receiving treatment at District General Hospital, Kilinochchi. Ramanathapuram police launched an operation to apprehend those responsible for the attack, which resulted in the arrest of 5 men aged between 16 and 32 and 5 women aged between 26 and 45. All suspects are scheduled to be produced before the Kilinochchi Magistrates Court. Meanwhile, Colombo Magistrate Asanga S. Bodharagama today granted permission to the Police Narcotics Bureau to detain and question until November 8 the 6 suspects from the multi-day fishing vessel Sea Devi who were arrested while transporting 336 kilograms of heroin and crystal methamphetamine. The Narcotics Bureau informed court that the suspects are facing charges of illegally importing and trafficking narcotics. In a separate incident, a 28-year-old Sri Lankan national was arrested at Bandaranaike International Airport while in possession of Kush cannabis. Customs officials discovered nearly 2.7 kilograms of cannabis hidden in the suspect's luggage. The individual had arrived in Sri Lanka from Bangkok, Thailand via Chennai, India. The suspect was handed over to the Police Narcotics Bureau for further investigation. In another related development, a couple involved in drug trafficking for Dubai Kududilini, also known as Candy Queen, was arrested in Valakadayawa area by the Kegol Crime Division. The woman was found in possession of 5 grams and 520 milligrams of heroin, while the man was found with 40 grams and 20 milligrams of heroin packed in a bag. After being produced before the Kegol Magistrates Court, police were granted permission to detain the suspects for 7 days for further questioning. During anti-narcotic missions launched under the A Nation United initiative, police have recovered 5 kilograms and 391 grams of cannabis, 252 kilograms and 129 grams of crystal methamphetamine, 86 kilograms and 153 grams of heroin, 1,647 narcotic pills, 91 grams of intoxicants used in Ayurvedic medicine, and several other illicit substances. With these efforts, 1,282 suspects have been arrested, with 26 of them being referred to rehabilitation facilities.
ඔබේ සම හඳුනාගෙන ඖෂධීය ශාකසාරමය forever face wash එකක් භාවිතා කරන්න.
The Supreme Court today dismissed 3 petitions filed by members of former Minister Keheliya Ramukwalla's family who sought to nullify a Colombo High Court order that froze their assets. The Ramukwalla family's assets were frozen in connection with an ongoing investigation by the Bribery Commission.
Former Minister of Health Kelly Rambukwala faced allegations of procuring, distributing and supplying substandard human immunoglobulin and rituximab to the national healthcare system during the 2022 economic crisis. Rambukwala and 12 others were initially remanded in connection with these charges but were later released on bail. Separately, Rambukwala and his family were accused of failing to declare the sources of their assets. In August last year, the Colombo High Court ordered the freezing of assets worth over 97 million rupees belonging to the former minister's family as part of an ongoing bribery commission investigation. Legal proceedings were initiated in connection with this matter as well, leading once again to their remand and subsequent release on bail. In this context, 3 members of the former minister's family, his wife, daughter and son-in-law, filed 3 writ petitions seeking to nullify the order. However, the Supreme Court in its ruling today dismissed all 3 petitions.
Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya says the newly introduced teaching and learning modules for grades 1 and 6 proposed under the new education reforms will be distributed to schools by the 1st of January next year. Meanwhile, addressing concerns surrounding the reforms, the Premier asserts that solutions will be sought along the way after the reforms are implemented and assures that going forward, teachers' appointments and transfers will only be made based on policy and fairness rather than personal interests.
We held discussions with trade unions throughout this year. We also discussed with teachers and principals. The Education Ministry issued a circular 2 weeks ago on how the reforms will be implemented. We have also forwarded model timetables to principals. It is normal for people to bear different opinions when such reforms are being implemented. The government should be making decisions, not merely engaging in dialogue. The modules for grades 1 and 6 are currently being printed. Printing will conclude in mid-November and we have made necessary arrangements for the modules to reach schools by January 1st. Textbooks for other grades are already printed.
During a separate event, the Premier also commented on the shortage of teachers.
There are issues concerning appointments, transfers and filling of vacancies. Humanitarian issues will also arise when we try to resolve them. I won't promise resolutions that will fully satisfy everyone. We will try to make policy-based, unbiased decisions instead of being person-centric. That is how we, the political authority, operate, and that is how we instruct our officials to work. Do not seek revenge. These measures have to be implemented adhering to definite criteria and with utmost transparency. This initiative will not be successful if we postpone its implementation until all the related concerns are resolved. We will have to seek resolutions along the way after implementing the initiatives. That is why we are taking some time to implement the program.
Do what you do, let the world look up to you. Shoot what you see, be who you wanna be. Search with a smile, create your own style. Gemini live, make moments come alive. Be anywhere, rock anytime. With awesome AI by your side. Be anywhere, rock anytime. Be brilliant, be always intelligent. Download fast, stream it all night. One tap, move, everything feel right. Snap it clean, edit like a pro. Smarter with Gemini, let the magic flow.
Introducing Samsung Galaxy A17 5G. The power to be always intelligent.
All promotional activities related to the 2025 GCE Advanced Level Examination, including tuition classes, specialist seminars, lectures, workshops and discussions of mock question papers, will be prohibited from midnight tomorrow. The 2025 GCE A-Level examination is scheduled to commence on November 10th and will continue until December 5th. It will be conducted at 2,362 centres across the island. 340,525 candidates, 246,521 school candidates and 94,004 private candidates are expected to sit for this year's examination. Commissioner General of Examinations Indika Liyanage stated that admission cards for both school and private candidates have now been issued. Candidates who have not received their admission cards can access them via the website of the Department of Examinations from today. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa says the government must formulate a clear and effective program to eradicate the culture of narcotics that has engulfed the school system. He made this remark while addressing a Samagi Jana Balawege event in Minuwangoda.
A Samagi Jana Balavega membership promotion program was held recently in the Hallolua division of Minuangoda under the patronage of opposition leader Sajith Premadasa.
Drug dealers, robbers, members of the underworld and murderers have taken control of our society. Shootings and murders are being carried out as if for sport. The government failed to control this culture of murder. Due to the government's weakness, an immense fear has spread throughout society towards these criminals. We agree that drugs and the underworld must be eradicated. This drug menace has already engulfed the school system and we need a solution. It is the government's responsibility to implement an effective plan. As a responsible opposition, we will extend our full support to efforts aimed at eradicating drugs. However, because of the government's weak policies, people are increasingly losing their democratic rights.
Sarvajana Balaya leader, parliamentarian Dilith Jayavira warns that Sri Lanka will continue to sink deeper into crisis if the government keeps projecting a negative image of the nation by consistently emphasizing the threats of drugs and the underworld. He made these remarks while addressing a party event in Jayala, where he stressed that such portrayals damage the country's reputation and discourage progress.
The Sarvajana Sabha of the Valpula division of the Jayala electorate was inaugurated yesterday under the patronage of Sarvajana Balaya leader parliamentarian Dilith Jayavira.
If someone is wondering whether our plan is to turn everyone into entrepreneurs, the answer is no. Our goal is not to make everyone an entrepreneur, but foster an entrepreneurial mindset among the people. To put it simply, this mindset is the polar opposite of what the government is currently promoting. Recently, they brought about 5,000 people, including American ambassador, to the Sugadadasa Stadium and proclaimed that there is a serious drug menace in the country and calling on people to join hands to solve it. But who exactly are they saying this to? If the president himself declares to the world that Sri Lanka is a nation plagued by drugs and shootings both day and night, how can we expect tourism to grow in such an environment? This is the reality we wake up to every day. Can such a government truly lead this nation to recovery? If the president possesses an entrepreneurial mindset, these issues would be handled strategically and discreetly, not broadcast to the public. The truth is simple. Only countries that think and act with an entrepreneurial mindset have succeeded.
The governing National People's Power as well as main opposition Samagi Jana Balavege maintained that the rally called by the coalition of opposition parties is not backed by a long-term vision. Meanwhile, the Sri Lanka Podu Jana Peramuna General Secretary Sagara Kariyawasam announced that former presidents will not be invited to participate in the rally.
Steps are being taken to stabilize the economy, which was severely damaged. While we are striving to rebuild the nation, the opposition, which was in power previously, seems to have lost its direction. They are now looking for means of escape. In Parliament, we speak about the issues that people bring to us. In the last Parliament, the NPP held only 3 seats, while we had around 150. If they can oust government by deceiving the public with just 3 MPs, we too can expose their wrongdoings without resorting to lies. Did the government that came to power in 1997 with just a 1-seat majority collapse? No. However, does this current government, even with 159 seats, enjoy the same level of public support as it did in the past? No. On the 21st of this month, people will show that the government no longer holds any real power. There's effectively no opposition anymore. They don't raise the real issues faced by the people. Sadly, it must be said that this country at present possesses a mentally weakened opposition.
At
present, only the government and a single opposition party are criticizing the rally against the government. This clearly indicates that there is a deal between that opposition party and the government. Our alliance was not formed with the goal of establishing a new government. Rather, it is merely a rally to demonstrate public opposition against the government's misconduct.
අපි ඒ ගැන පැහැදිලිවම තීන්දුවක් කිව්වා නේ අපි ඒ රැලියට සහභාගී වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා.
ඇයි එතකොට කඩාකප්පල් කිරීමක්?
නෑ එහෙම කඩාකප්පල් කිරීමක් නෑ.
There is no sabotage. Our position is that the rally must have a clear and unified purpose. We are aware that the opposition parties organized in the rally hold conflicting views. We can discuss if there is a specific and meaningful objective. As of now, our party has decided not to participate.
මේ වෙලාවේ පක්ෂයේ තීන්දුව නම් සහභාගී වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියන එක තමයි.
හුඟක් දෙනෙක් මේ ගැන විවිධ කතා කියනවා මම දැක්කා.
I noticed several opinions being shared about this rally. Some claim there is no proper plan or purpose, while others say they will not take part. Our decision was made only after consulting all parties concerned.
හැම පක්ෂයක් එක්කම සාකච්ඡා කරලා තමයි මේ තීන්දුව අපි අරගත්තේ.
ඕනම කෙනෙක්ට සහභාගී විය හැකි.
Anyone is free to participate in the rally. However, the organizing committee has decided that since this is only the initial stage of the movement, former presidents will not be invited at this time.
ආරාධනා කිරීම සිදු කරන්නේ නැති බවට.
Archbishop Paul Richard Gallagher, the Secretary for Relations with States and International Organizations of the Holy See, arrived in Sri Lanka today. Archbishop Gallagher was received by Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Employment Arun Hemachandra. The Archbishop will undertake the official visit to Sri Lanka until November 8th. The visit is undertaken at the invitation of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism Vijitha Herath to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Sri Lanka and the Holy See. During his stay, Archbishop Gallagher will meet President Anura Dissanayake, Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya and Foreign Minister Vijitha Herath and deliver an address at a commemorative event in Colombo. His program also includes visits to culturally and religiously significant sites, including churches impacted by the 2019 Easter Sunday attacks. Saudi Arabia has expressed willingness to strengthen ties with Sri Lanka through investment, technical collaboration and knowledge sharing aimed at modernizing the fisheries and marine sectors. This commitment was conveyed by Saudi Ambassador Khalid bin Hamoud Al Qahtani during discussions with Minister of Fisheries, Aquatic and Ocean Resources Ramalingam Chandrasekhar and the Minister of Fisheries in Colombo. The talks focused on expanding bilateral cooperation in aquaculture, shrimp farming technologies, fisheries biosecurity, feed production and marine research. Minister Chandrasekhar highlighted Sri Lanka's readiness to attract Saudi investment, noting supportive government policies and the country's strategic position in the Indian Ocean. He commended Saudi Arabia's progress under its Vision 2030 plan, particularly in fisheries management and aquatic resource development. Both sides also discussed opportunities for educational exchanges, technical training and joint marine research projects. With that, here's a look at more local news across the island in brief.
Two suspects were arrested by Vattal police on charges of public disorder in connection with an incident where they had threatened and verbally abused a Buddhist nun. A video of the incident is circulating on social media. The incident occurred last night near Sri Ratnavali Bhikshuni Aramaya in Kerawalapitiya. The arrestees, aged 58 and 67, are residents of Vattala. The duo is scheduled to be produced before the Velisara Magistrates Court. Meanwhile, a woman who was arrested for obstructing the duties of police officers in Udugampola Gampaha by falsely claiming to be the sister of a senior DIG was further remanded until November 10th. This was after the suspect was produced before the Gampaha Magistrates Court today. Another video showing the woman threatening police officers on the day of the incident is currently circulating on social media. In other local news, a 45-year-old man was shot dead in Mivanapalana, Horana. The deceased was returning home with his wife when the shooting occurred, and it is suspected that a personal dispute was the motive.
Welcome back to First at 9. Sri Lankan Airlines reported a 10.7 billion rupee net loss for the June 2025 quarter, narrowing from 12.9 billion a year earlier. Revenue rose to 51.7 billion rupees, with passenger numbers up 23% and load factor improving to 82.3%. However, cargo revenue fell 13% to 7.1 billion, widening operating losses to 5.2 billion from 3.5 billion a year earlier. The airline's liabilities stood at 606.7 billion rupees against assets of 191.5 billion, leaving a 415.2 billion rupee deficit in the balance sheet. A new business plan for 2025-26 has been approved as losses persist despite repeated state support. The Colombo bourse closed in positive territory today as a result of price gains in counters such as Senkadagala Finance, Bukit Dara and John Keel's Holdings. The benchmark ASPI gained 0.54% to close at 22,928.31, while the more liquid S&P Sri Lanka 20 increased by 0.62% to end the day at 6,252.4. Market turnover was 5.73 billion rupees. The capital goods sector was the highest contributor to market turnover, followed by the transportation sector. Foreign participation in market activity remained at subdued levels, with foreigners closing as net sellers, offloading shares worth 1.1 billion rupees. Up next, we have Dinuka Dharmasena from Capital Alliance in our next segment, Markets in View.
The domestic stock market recorded a slight decline during the previous week, with the SPI easing 0.03% from 22,812 to 22,804 and the S&P SL20 falling 0.84% from 6,266 to 6,213. Market turnover increased by 4.2% to 30.7 billion rupees. Additionally, the government raised 57 billion rupees at last week's Treasury bill auction. The 3-month yields remain unchanged, while the 6 months and 12 months yields rose by 1 and 2 basis points respectively.
With that, here's a look at today's foreign exchange rates. That's all for tonight from First at 9. For the latest developments around the clock, stay in touch with Other Derana News Channel, the Sri Lankan news brand of international excellence. Thank you for joining. Have a great night.
From across the nation and around the world, this is Sri Lanka's #1 news source, Other Derana.